So hello everyone, and this time we are going to start off with a small problem, or a big problem actually. Depends on how you look at it. I don't know, I might title this episode something like, almost lost my boat or whatever, because that's basically what happened. So long story short, what happened was that I had to go to Finland for a couple of weeks, and I left the boat in a very small town at a floating pontoon dock, and while I was gone a big winter storm came in, and actually I was already back in Norway and I was trying to get back to my home, back to the boat, but all public transport was cancelled, and actually the roads were closed anyway, so it was not possible to go back. And what happened was that the mooring ropes for my boat were fine, and I had lots of vendors out. Everything was fine in that regard, but what happened was that the actual dock itself broke. So the anchor line, or the anchor for the dock, kind of broke, and something happened and the dock kind of floated off on its own. And Sylvia, she almost ended up on the rocks, but luckily there were a few local people around and they were able to save the boat. But in the process we got some damage though. All in all, it doesn't look too bad though, because if the local people hadn't been there, she probably would have kind of floated off and ended up on the rocks, and that probably would have been a total loss then. So I'm super thankful for the people who were there and who did they did a lot, because I don't know how they were able to move the boat from the pontoon that was kind of floating off. They were able to move her to another dock, but yeah, anyway, through this whole thing we got some damage though under the waterline. So basically Sylvia, she was resting on top of a mooring chain, like a mooring chain for a dock, and the wind was pushing her against the mooring chain for quite a while, and the mooring chain kind of just went through the gel coat and into the fiberglass. So I took my GoPro out and I put it under the water with a lamp, and I can see that there is some damage under the waterline, but it looks like there hasn't been any impact. It's just that the mooring chain has been like sawing through the gel coat while the wind was pushing the boat towards the mooring chain. So yeah, it could have been a lot worse. I can feel the damage with my hand and it doesn't look deep at all. It feels like the mooring chain basically just went through the gel coat, but there is fiberglass exposed now, and that means that I have to lift up the boat, because if I don't do that, then the fiberglass will slowly but surely suck in some seawater, and then that's gonna lead to more damage. So I need to sail to Tromsø, which is a couple days away, and that's of course a little bit annoying because I didn't want to go there, and that's in the wrong direction. I don't want to head that way, but that's the only place where you can lift up a sailboat that's somewhat close by. And yeah, it's just something that has to be done, even though it means, like, of course, losing money and so on. But haven't really got any other options right now. Of course, it's December, so it's pretty cold, and it is also completely dark the whole day pretty much. I mean, this is now an exceptionally bright day outside, and there is snow, so there's like indirect light coming in here, but the sun doesn't rise above the horizon at all, so there is 0 hours and 0 minutes and 0 seconds of daylight each day. So yeah, it's pretty dark most of the time. I'm wearing a headlamp, but well, off to Tromsø we go anyway. Okay, so it's time to inspect the damage, and here is the most interesting spot. And as you can see, it's a very clean spot, so nothing much to be done, just needs a little bit of paint there, and just need to grind it out a little bit on the sides. So that's good. But then there is another spot, and this one was a little bit surprise to me. I guess the mooring chain has rubbed here as well. So this is the rudder, and here you can see that the chain has rubbed here and the fiberglass is visible. The good thing is the fiberglass looks very good, looks like a very solid layup. Over here as well, it looks very solid, so happy about that. And I'm just gonna show you something more. Obviously she's been in water now for almost 2 years non-stop, and I haven't washed the bottom. And on this side you can see the results. So we do have some hard growth on the keel, but actually it's not too bad considering how long she's been in the water without washing. So over here there's nothing else except just some yucky brown slime. So that's good. First I need to clean the bottom, because if the hard growth, if it dries up, then it's actually really hard to get it off. So it's much easier when it's still wet. And here is my secret weapon, a cutting board, because it's nice and flexible, and it's also soft, and the hard growth comes off quite easily. So that's what I'm going to be doing the next half an hour or an hour at least, and then after that it's time to start grinding the fiberglass a little bit and sanding and painting The problem of course here is right now that the weather is so cold that the paint doesn't really want to dry, so I need to use a heat pistol or a heat gun to dry the paint, and I just have to see how that goes. Let's get to work. I know that using an angle grinder is not really the recommended way of getting the paint off the hull, but I don't have a sanding machine at the moment, so I'm just gonna use this very carefully, and I think it's gonna be okay. Watching the paint dry, or hopefully dry at least, because it's too cold to paint at these temperatures. I mean, it's -2 degrees Celsius, and obviously you're not supposed to paint two-component paint at this temperature, but this very friendly guy here, he actually gave me some paint with quick hardener, so it looks pretty good. I think it's going to work quite well. I warmed up the surface with the heat pistol before I painted, and now I'm just kind of really carefully warming up the paint, and I'll do this for a few minutes and then have a break for a few minutes and continue like this for a while and see how it turns out. But right now it looks pretty good. So very friendly people here, Skattøra Marina in Tromsø. The guys were really helpful. I gave him 100 Norwegian kroner for the paint and the hardener, and he even gave me a brush and some small containers to mix the paint in, even though I told him I already have all of the other stuff. I only really needed the paint, but now I got a bunch of stuff for really cheap. That's really good, because otherwise I would have had to go to a store here and buy like a big can of two-component epoxy and then only use like a fraction of it, so that's nice. Sylvia spent couple days hanging from the ceilings, and during that time I replaced all the sinks and painted the damaged spots with 3 layers of epoxy. I spent a lot of time here in Tromsø, and I also went to Finland to the boat show, to the Nordic boat show, and I did a few presentations over there. And now I'm back at the boat. I just came back to the boat after being away for 2 weeks, and this is what it looks like right now. There is just so much snow. It's really hard to see because the snow is like really dense, so it doesn't look so fluffy, but there is just so much. It's like there should be a cockpit winch over there, but can't see it. And yeah, there's the stern, and over here maybe you can see it's like completely covered. Let's take a look inside. Port lights are completely covered by snow because basically the snow has piled up on the deck so much that that's what the galley port light looks like. And this is my nav station, and we can have a look at the big windows as well. You can see my bubble wrap insulation here. And you can see a bit of light coming through there. But yeah, that's all just snow. So yeah, basically when Sophie is here, what we're gonna do is a lot of shoveling, and then we are off and we're gonna go sailing. Here we go. So Sophie is now here in Norway with me, and well, it's snowing, it's really wintry weather, but we are gonna go and find our dinghy, because I was away for 2 weeks and I put the dinghy on the on the land, because otherwise it's gonna be full of snow and ice, and then it's really hard to empty it and everything. So we need to go and find it.
Yay!
Okay, so now we are going to play a game. You have to find the dinghy. I'm gonna tell you warmer and colder, okay? No, mene jonnekin suuntaan. Go somewhere. Colder, colder. Warmer. 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 Now it's getting colder again.
I don't think this is very funny.
Getting quite hot.
Yeah, I see.
Tää on aika paljon. Hey, hey. The next day we wanted to leave, but despite the favorable weather forecast, it just kept on snowing and snowing. After the usual shoveling, the next challenge was untying the mooring lines.
Miten menee?
Tosi hyvin. Tää mun pittitaktiikka onkin aika hyvä.
Näyttää kätevältä.
Tää on kätevää. Ensin sulatetaan. Tai ainakin vähän. During the snow showers the visibility is very reduced, so we are pretty much relying on our electronics to guide our way. and the mainsail track was frozen again, just like in the previous episode, so it would be head sail only for the next couple of days. So we have now left Tromsø and we are heading northeast, and we have to be in Hammerfest in 2 weeks because Sohvi has some work to do over there, and it's about 100 miles as the crow flies, so it's not very far away and we have 2 weeks of time. So we are gonna stop at a few of these small little places along the way and hopefully anchor a couple of times as well. Sorry, that's my autopilot. And now that it has snowed quite a lot, we also want to do some skiing and snowboarding as well. Sohvi has a new board and she's probably pretty excited to try it out. And actually this next place where we are going, it's called Voyage, and it's a small village and it has a pretty nice and easy mountain next to it. So we're probably gonna try and ride that in the next few days. I know that tomorrow the weather is going to be pretty crap though, so it's going to snow again, but maybe a day over tomorrow. We'll see. Siinä on niinku yksi spontaani laituri. Hello from the editing corner, and that was pretty much it for this time. So thanks for watching, and if you liked it, then you know the usual stuff. Please consider subscribing here on YouTube. It's completely free and it actually does help me out. And if you really liked it, then you can also subscribe on Patreon. That's not free anymore then, but you get access to a live tracking map where I'm also posting some log entries and short descriptions of each of the places that I'm visiting, and there's a bunch of other stuff there as well. So yeah, that was it for this time. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks again at the latest. Bye bye. Juhu! Nyt on paskasää. Shit weather.
Yeah.